Libra, beautiful soul, something you set into motion quietly is beginning to return to you in a very real way. It is not an accident that you found this message today, because the energy around you has already started shifting beneath the surface. By May 15th and 16th, 2026, a new flow begins to open, one connected to choices you made when no one else understood the weight you were carrying. This is not random luck or empty coincidence. It is the unfolding result of a deeply aligned decision your spirit made long ago. And today we're going to explore why that energy is finally taking form in your life. Let me ask you something, Libra. Have you ever wondered whether the universe truly noticed the moments you stayed honest, even when nobody was there to applaud you? Have you ever sat quietly with yourself and asked if anyone saw the sacrifices you made just to remain faithful to your own heart? If those thoughts feel familiar, then this message was meant to reach you, because the answer has always been yes. Every time you walked away from chaos, every moment you chose peace instead of temporary gain, every silent act of integrity was witnessed far beyond what you could see. Now the balance is shifting. Libra, the spiritual accounting has finally come into harmony, and the truth is simple: you passed. The unseen forces guiding your path have closed this chapter with one clear answer: paid in full. What begins unfolding around May 15th and 16th is not arriving because you chased it desperately, but because your soul remained aligned with something deeper than fear. You may notice it through an opportunity, a meaningful message, a financial opening, or even a sudden lightness moving through your chest where heaviness used to live. However it arrives, you will recognize it. Your body will feel calmer, your thoughts quieter, and something inside you will begin relaxing into trust again. And Libra, that feeling is your confirmation. Before we go further, I want to pause for a moment and sincerely thank you for being here, because your presence carries real energy into this space. Every comment, every like, and every subscription becomes more than support online. It becomes a signal that you are open to what the universe is trying to place into your hands next. I also want you to know how deeply appreciated you are. Your energy helps keep these messages alive, and your presence here matters more than you realize. You are seen, valued, and guided, even during the seasons when life felt uncertain. So stay with me through this message, Libra, because what is unfolding now feels less like prediction and more like confirmation from the universe itself. Before we continue, I want you to declare it openly in your own words. In the comments below, type, "I am ready to receive what blooms in alignment for me." Let those words become your confirmation and your energetic signature that you are finally prepared to welcome what already belongs to you. Take a slow breath, Libra, and let yourself settle into this moment as we begin. There are seasons in life when the choices you make carry more truth than anything you could ever say aloud. No applause follows you, no audience rises to acknowledge what you sacrificed, and yet something far beyond the visible world keeps record of it all. You may have believed you were only trying to survive, quietly making difficult decisions that nobody around you fully understood. But from a deeper spiritual perspective, those moments were never small. They were sacred exchanges, shaping the energy now beginning to return to you. The world teaches people to measure value through status, money, recognition, and visible success. But the universe moves through a different kind of balance, one where honesty, forgiveness, patience, and emotional integrity carry lasting weight. Every time you chose peace over proving yourself, every moment you protected your soul instead of chasing approval, you added something meaningful to an invisible ledger that has been growing quietly around your life. None of it disappeared, Libra. None of it was overlooked. What others may have mistaken for softness was never weakness at all. Your sensitivity, your restraint, your unwillingness to harm others simply because you had been hurt yourself became part of a much deeper currency, one the spiritual world understands clearly. Even the tears you shed in silence after choosing what felt right instead of what felt easy carried value beyond what you could see at the time. The soul has its own form of wealth, and it is built through endurance, clarity, compassion, and the strength to remain open-hearted after disappointment. Now you are stepping into a season where those unseen investments begin taking form in more tangible ways. The energetic balance has shifted, and what once felt delayed is finally moving into alignment. This is not the kind of reward the world gives to ambition or performance. It is the quiet return that arrives when someone has stayed faithful to their inner truth for longer than anyone realized. When I speak about a spiritual audit, I am not talking about punishment or judgment, but about the universe recognizing consistency that never broke even in difficult seasons. Imagine a silent keeper of records, witnessing every unseen moment of growth. The times you held back words because wisdom mattered more than reaction. The moments you offered understanding because you remembered your own pain too clearly to become cruel. The opportunities you walked away from because something inside you knew they would cost your peace. This is how spiritual equity is created over time, and Libra, your soul has carried that lesson heavily. As someone naturally drawn toward harmony, fairness, and emotional balance, your path has often required you to stand inside situations that felt deeply uneven. Even so, you did not allow bitterness to reshape your heart. You resisted the urge to abandon your values simply to feel safe or accepted for a moment. And that is exactly why this period unfolding around mid-May carries such quiet significance. This is not only about money arriving, it is about finally understanding your own worth without needing the world's permission first. There is a truth that echoes gently through so many spiritual teachings. Do not grow tired of choosing what is right simply because the reward has not appeared yet. In time, what has been planted with sincerity always finds a way to bloom. And Libra, despite everything, you continued planting light in places that gave you very little back. Even when your kindness was misunderstood, even when nobody acknowledged your effort, you kept choosing alignment over resentment. Now that energy is beginning to multiply in ways you can finally feel. The abundance moving toward you now reaches beyond financial relief. It feels more like confirmation. A quiet but unmistakable yes from the universe to the direction your soul has been following all along. The emotional and spiritual investments you carried through your hardest chapters were never wasted energy. They became part of the foundation supporting what is now unfolding around you. And this release does not arrive through chaos or force. It arrives gently, like tension leaving the body after being carried too long. So if something inside you has started shifting, even in subtle ways, trust what you are sensing. This is not imagination. It is balance returning where imbalance once lived. It is the unseen beginning to reveal itself little by little, with calm precision instead of noise. Your name is being called forward not because anyone pities your journey, but because the season you prepared for internally is finally meeting you in the physical world. The deepest transformations rarely announce themselves loudly at first. You may wake up around May 15th or 16th, Libra, and simply feel that the atmosphere around your life has softened somehow. Perhaps it appears through a meaningful message, an unexpected opportunity, a small financial easing, or even a quiet sense of relief settling into your chest where tension once stayed rooted. At first, these moments may seem small or easy to overlook, but they carry far more meaning than they appear to. They are quiet signs that the energy around your life is responding differently because you are no longer the same person you once were. This is not random luck or sudden fortune. What is unfolding now comes from alignment, integrity, and the quiet balance your spirit has spent so long building. The energy surrounding May 15th and 16th carries a softer kind of transformation. It does not arrive to disrupt your life or force another painful lesson. Instead, it reflects the person you slowly became through every difficult season you survived without losing yourself. You made choices based on truth rather than convenience, and because of that, what is returning to you now feels less like reward and more like something always meant to arrive. Astrologically, this moment holds a quiet significance. Venus moves through an energy that supports emotional clarity, grounded growth, and a steadier flow of abundance, while Jupiter expands what has already been developing within you. Together, these energies create an opening where life begins responding more naturally to the alignment you have worked hard to maintain. It feels less like a dramatic cosmic event and more like a calm green light finally appearing after a long wait. And Libra, you are already standing within that energy. What makes this season meaningful is not only the arrival of opportunities, but the way they come without emotional heaviness attached to them. This energy does not carry desperation, pressure, or the exhaustion of constantly proving your worth. It arrives cleanly, with peace and clarity your spirit immediately recognizes. This is what happens when readiness and divine timing finally meet. Grace rarely crashes into life all at once. More often, it enters quietly, the way sunlight slowly fills a room at dawn. The abundance moving toward you now feels much like that, gentle, steady, and restorative rather than overwhelming. It is the universe releasing what your soul has patiently carried for much longer than anyone realized. You do not need to force any of this forward. You do not need to exhaust yourself chasing what is already moving naturally in your direction. Your role now is simply to remain open enough to receive without guilt or doubt. If you ever questioned whether goodness returns, whether your silent integrity mattered at all, let this season answer those questions softly but clearly. Energy never disappears. It returns in ways that eventually find their way back home. So when a message appears, an invitation arrives, or a subtle sign catches your attention, allow yourself to notice it instead of dismissing it. Pause, breathe, and recognize the quiet movement happening around you. This is often how divine reciprocity works. It arrives through calm confirmation and the realization that what belongs to you no longer needs to be chased. And when tarot speaks through cards like these, it speaks with clarity. The presence of the Hierophant, Judgment, Ace of Pentacles, and Six of Swords carries a message shaped around alignment, restoration, and emotional maturity. Libra, these cards point toward your movement out of emotional survival and into a season of greater peace, stability, and grounded abundance. The Hierophant reminds you that true strength never came from controlling everything around you. It came from staying connected to deeper truths, while the world pressured you to compete, rush, and constantly prove yourself. While others chased approval, you held on to grace, ethics, and inner balance, even when nobody recognized the effort it required. That was never weakness. It became the quiet structure supporting the life now unfolding around you. And even when your growth felt invisible, it was never unseen by the universe. This card arrives like a gentle acknowledgement, reminding you that you moved through sacred tests without abandoning your integrity along the way. Then Judgment appears, and this is where the atmosphere shifts. This card carries the feeling of an awakening, as though something inside you is finally hearing its name called after a long period of waiting. Libra, this is no longer about begging for recognition or proving your worth. It is your spirit stepping into what it has already spent so much time preparing to receive. The waiting season is changing. You are no longer standing outside the door hoping life will choose you. You are entering a space where receiving feels natural because your energy has finally aligned with what belongs to you. The verdict has already been written, and life is beginning to respond accordingly. Then the Ace of Pentacles opens its hands. This card feels like the physical form of a promise finally beginning to appear in your real life. It may come through an opportunity, a financial opening, a meaningful idea, or the first step towards something larger. But this energy goes beyond money. It is your own energy returning in a form you can finally hold. What makes this season different from other cycles of ambition is the foundation beneath it. This was never built from fear, lack, or desperation. It was built through honesty, emotional growth, and the decision to remain aligned with yourself even when easier paths appeared. That is why this abundance feels clean instead of heavy. It arrives with peace, balance, and clarity rather than emotional debt. And then the Six of Swords brings one of the gentlest messages in the spread. It reminds you that it is finally safe to breathe again. You are moving away from emotional exhaustion and inner storms, even if the transition still feels slow at times. This card is not about rushing forward. It is about relief, about realizing the waters around you are finally beginning to calm. If recent weeks have felt quieter or uncertain, there is a reason for that. You are between emotional chapters, leaving one version of yourself behind, while another slowly becomes visible. Even if the future has not fully revealed itself yet, movement is still happening beneath the surface. And what lies ahead feels softer than what you carried before. When I look at these cards together, I see more than opportunity. I see a carefully aligned transition unfolding with timing your spirit can truly hold. This feels like moving from survival into stability, from hoping life will change into finally seeing proof that it already has. Somewhere inside, you sensed this moment long before it arrived physically, even when you could not explain it clearly. And that matters deeply. The true reward is not only what is arriving now, but who you became while learning how to wait without abandoning yourself. So if you have been asking for a sign that it is safe to move forward, let this be your confirmation. This is not another test asking you to prove your worth. It is a light being placed gently into your hands so you can keep walking forward with peace. And perhaps the softest message in this entire spread comes through the Six of Swords, the card that reminds you it is finally safe to breathe again. You are moving away from the emotional storms that shaped so many of your past decisions, leaving behind a heaviness that once felt impossible to escape. This card is not pushing you forward aggressively, it is guiding you gently through an emotional transition before you fully realize how much you have already changed. If life has felt quieter lately, slower or harder to define, there is a reason for that. You are no longer standing in the same emotional place you once were, even if the next chapter has not fully revealed itself yet. The energy around May 15th and 16th feels less like a dramatic breakthrough and more like calm movement beneath the surface. The waters ahead may not be perfect, but they are far more peaceful than the chaos you had to survive before. When I look at this spread, I see more than opportunity. I see a carefully timed transition unfolding at a pace your spirit can truly hold. This feels like moving from endlessly waiting for change into finally recognizing that change is already happening around you. Deep down, some part of you sensed this moment long before it arrived in visible form, even when you could not explain it clearly to anyone else. And that quiet belief matters. The real reward is not only what is entering your life now, but the person you became while learning how to endure with grace. So if you have been searching for a sign that it is finally safe to move forward, let this be your confirmation. This is not another exhausting test. It is a light being placed into your hands so you can continue with greater clarity and peace. But not every lesson arrives looking difficult. Sometimes it appears through familiarity, through a voice from the past, an old connection, or someone who still carries the energy of a version of yourself you have already outgrown. As abundance begins settling more naturally around you, Libra, the universe is asking whether you are ready to protect the growth you worked so hard to build. And what comes next has less to do with generosity than with discernment. Before larger blessings fully arrive, life often presents a smaller moment that reveals whether your boundaries have truly strengthened. Someone from your past may reappear, not necessarily asking for money, but asking to enter your emotional space again. Their pain may be real, and compassion may rise naturally inside you. But the deeper question is whether you can stay loyal to yourself while listening to them. You will likely feel the difference immediately. Part of you may notice the familiar pull toward energy you fought hard to leave behind. A quiet temptation to bend yourself again in the name of understanding or love. And in that moment, remember what your spirit has slowly been learning. Love does not always require access. Forgiveness does not require closeness. Helping someone should never cost you your peace. You are not meant to carry everyone simply because your heart knows how to care deeply. Especially now, as your own light grows stronger, it becomes important to recognize who arrives to support your growth and who only arrives to lean against it. That is not cruelty, that is alignment. And protecting your alignment is now part of protecting the abundance unfolding in your life. Energetically, this moment resembles what many traditions call a threshold guardian, a final moment standing between the old version of yourself and the new one. Its purpose is not to stop you, but to quietly ask whether you are truly ready for what you have been asking to receive. The answer is never spoken aloud. It reveals itself through your choices, your boundaries, and your willingness to protect the peace you spent years rebuilding. You no longer need to explain your growth to people who only understood the version of you that survived through self-sacrifice. You do not need to apologize for changing or for protecting your energy differently now. The only thing required in this season is honesty with yourself and respect for the clarity you have earned. And for someone like you, Libra, whose instinct has always been to preserve harmony, that lesson carries real emotional weight. But this time, turning inward may be the most loving thing you can do. You have carried the emotions of others for so long, often giving compassion even while your own spirit felt empty. Now that your energy is finally beginning to refill, your role is not to pour it away carelessly again. What is entering your life next feels sacred, and it is meant to build stability rather than disappear through unprotected boundaries. And if saying no still feels uncomfortable, try seeing it differently. Every time you step away from what drains your spirit, you create more space for the people and opportunities truly meant for this next chapter of your life. In many ways, saying no has become another form of saying yes to the version of yourself that is finally ready to live with peace instead of survival. And if guilt begins to rise, remind yourself gently that protecting your peace is not selfishness. You are learning how to care responsibly for what life and spirit have finally begun placing back into your hands. Many people escape painful cycles only to meet those same patterns again in softer disguises, asking to return to spaces they no longer belong. And often, everything changes when they choose differently than they once did. The miracle did not arrive before the boundary. It arrived because the boundary was honored. You have already done the inner work, Libra. You cleared emotional ground that once felt crowded with exhaustion and survival habits. And now you are being asked to protect what has finally begun blooming there. This is not a test of how loving you are, because the universe already knows the depth of your heart. The real question is whether you now understand the difference between kindness and abandoning yourself. If you move through this season with clarity, what waits on the other side will speak louder than any explanation ever could. Libra, you were never meant to shrink yourself just to fit into places that could not recognize your worth. You came here to become a steady channel for peace, truth, and abundance to move through with grace. And as this new cycle continues unfolding around May 15th and 16th, you are being reminded not of who you might become someday, but of who you already are beneath the doubt you carried for so long. You were never lacking. You were becoming ready. So if these days begin feeling lighter, if your thoughts grow quieter, or your heart slowly opens toward hope again, allow yourself to trust that feeling instead of questioning it. The abundance approaching you now is not arriving as payment for performance. It is arriving as proof that your integrity has finally taken visible form. This is not about luck suddenly finding you. It is about finally being seen fully and clearly. So let me ask you honestly, Libra, are you ready to hold what already belongs to you? Can you believe that the goodness you offered quietly through difficult seasons created a return greater than the recognition you never received at the time? This is your season not to chase, but to receive. Not to keep proving yourself, but to remember yourself. Your role now is to continue moving forward with peace, alignment, and trust in the understanding that divine justice is real, personal, and finally reaching you. And if something inside this message stirred deeply within you, ground it into reality with your own words. In the comments below, write, "I am ready to receive what belongs to me." And type 888 as your number of alignment, flow, and abundance unfolding naturally into your life. This is more than symbolism. It is a moment of stepping out of uncertainty and into acceptance. Thank you for spending this time and energy here with me. Every comment, every like, and every subscription helps these messages continue reaching people who may still be searching for reassurance and hope. And maybe, without fully realizing it, your own story has already become a sign for someone else who needs encouragement right now. So if this message settled into your spirit, do not keep it only to yourself. Share this video with someone who may need hope today, and stay connected for more messages ahead. Because Libra, May 15th and 16th are not simply dates on a calendar. They carry the feeling of balance quietly returning where life once felt uneven. You are no longer waiting outside your breakthrough. In many ways, you are already standing inside it.